Part 2. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 11. This is a famous brand worth thousands of dollars, how could you throw it away? Yuanzi, no, brother Yuan, you are too generous. Are you getting rich? Wang Shui grinned happily. Li Yuan smiled faintly, with a calm expression, that's right, I made a little money. Wang Shui didn't go into details. He looked at the other pairs of basketball shoes and asked, are these pairs given to Daji and the others? Li Yuan nodded. Wang Shui couldn't help but cursed, brother Yuan, you are really willing to give up 5 pairs of basketball shoes, no matter what, it costs 4 to 5,000. Li Yuan chuckled, we are all brothers, there is nothing to be reluctant to part with. When I asked you to borrow money, you didn't hesitate. After a while, Suji, Yang Zhen, and others also rushed to the school gate. Brother Yuan, you are so generous. You must be the most generous person in our class. I only dared to think about Nike's original Kobe Bryant. My mother was not willing to buy it for me on my birthday. Brother Yuan is worthy of being a rich second generation. Please support me. I can attack or suffer, and I can also accompany you. Playing basketball and games is not much more fun than having a girlfriend. Li Yuan had goosebumps on his skin and cursed angrily, you idiot, labor and management only like beautiful beauties who are fragrant and not interested in big men who dig their feet. Hey, brothers, in a few days we will have a game with the guys from class 23, put on our boots, and blind their eyes. Zhang Zhongding touched the basketball shoes fondly. Su Ji joked, but, brother Yuan, you have to practice hard. If you can return to your previous state, our class 22 can beat class 23. Li Yuan smiled. He felt that his body was gradually recovering in the past few days, and whether it was due to the impact of rebirth, he felt that his memory and physical fitness had improved to varying degrees. By the way, brothers, have you all signed up to take the driver's license test? Li Yuan asked. Naturally he knew how to drive in his previous life, but if he were to do it again, he would still need to take the driver's license test. After getting the driver's license, he could consider buying a car. Su Ji shook his head, I'm preparing to take the exam, but I think we'll wait until the results of the college entrance examination come out. If you don't do well or fail, you'll have to repeat the exam. Zhang Zhongding also sighed, I estimate that my score is around 500. If I go by last year's score line, I won't even pass the 3 majors, so I can only go to a junior college. My parents will not allow me to go to a junior college. The minimum is take a bachelor's degree, even 3. Chapter 11. The college entrance examination results are released, people's joys and sorrows are not the same. After many years, Li Yuan could not remember how many scores Zhang Zhongding and the others got in the exam and what university they went to. But I vaguely remember that Zhang Zhongding did not do very well in the exam this year. He repeated his senior year of high school for a year, and next year he took a bachelor's degree. After graduating from college, he took the county civil servant examination as a fresh graduate, and then relied on his emotional intelligence and family background to become popular in the small county. Water rises. After he was admitted to the system in 2016, it didn't take long for Zhang Zhongding to be promoted to a deputy section-level leadership position just after completing his 4-year working period. He served as the deputy mayor of a certain township. Before he was reborn, he even got into the level of the top leader in the township. In short, he is much better than him. All I can say is that grades are not the decisive factor, emotional intelligence and background are. As it happened, he had neither. Thinking of this, Li Yuan suddenly thought of Bai Wuxi's family situation, and vaguely understood why he was rejected. In his previous life, he only had the same wealth, power and people, but for a family background like Bai Wuxi's, a person's appearance is not the decisive factor, or even the main factor. Being handsome is not a meal. However, money can buy food, power can be bought by others. So, if you want to improve your social status and don't want to join politics, you can only make money desperately, Li Yuan thought to himself. Time flies, and 5 days pass in the blink of an eye. Today is Sunday, and Editor-in-Chief Sean Kong is giving a testimonial to his new book Fighting Starry Sky today. Li Yuan stayed in the internet cafe all day long to check the results of the new book push. This Dopo High imitation fanfic has been updated to 60,000 words. It currently has 4,356 collections, 2,356 recommendations, 345 monthly votes, and ranks 31st on the new book list. The results are very good. This is still the result of a complete streak. Such an effect depends entirely on the subject matter and content, as well as the traffic on the new book list. Li Yuan reads the comment section once a day. Once there are malicious comments, he will delete, block, and ban them directly. Book recommendation: hey, I found a good book, Broken Engagement, Ring Grandpa, Fighting Spirit, 30 Years in Hedong, 30 Years in Hexi, it's interesting, I will collect it first, and give the author a big reward and a leader, I hope lots of updates. Please update quickly, the author's writing is really good. Alchemy, weapon refining, talisman seal writing and training systems are all very good. Please reward a helmsman first. Come on. He likes to talk about cheating, great author, where is the group? Hurry up and create a group. Create a group and reward a leader. The overall evaluation in the book review area is still very good, and they are all praise. Other than that, they only discuss the plot. As it was pushed up, the book began to explode with super absorbing capacity. It refreshed almost every 15 minutes and added dozens of collections. In less than half a day, the number of new collections reached 5,000. Data exploded and took off completely. As long as we keep going, it won't be a big problem to get over 10,000 or even 20,000 first orders. It is worthy of being the first God book in the previous life, and the money it attracts is simply invincible. Tudo should have earned over 100 million yuan with the total income from this book. Li Yuan understood that this was his greatest wealth. In this era, as long as you develop a Platinum God account, you will not be short of money in the future. And this is one of the tracks in his previous life, and it is relatively familiar, much simpler than starting a business. Almost all day long, Li Yuan was writing furiously in the internet cafe. He hadn't bought a laptop yet, so he could only work hard to write and save manuscripts in the internet cafe. The next day, he just woke up and was awakened by a text message from the editor. Starry Sky, your book has become popular, and the effect of pushing it up is very good. The new collections on the first day exceeded 10,000. Keep it up, and the 10,000 orders are stable. Save more manuscripts and maintain the quality. There will be several big recommendations later. Li Yuan, thank you, I will try my best to update, smile.jpg. Starry Sky, you have a lot of fans for this book now. You can consider building a group in advance or after the book is put on the shelves. It depends on your choice. Li Yuan, the group has been built and will be released on the day of the book's release. The next day, Li Yuan came to the internet cafe early as usual. Log into Yuandian Chinese website and check the background data. Yesterday, 11,869 new collections were added. Today's new collections have reached 3,000. It is continuing to ferment. The new book list directly entered the top 5. In short, in a word, it is popular, very popular. Hee, although it is a high imitation fan fiction, it also incorporates many of my creativity and hard work. It's not bad, Li Yuan thought happily. At this moment, the phone rang. Hey, brother Yuan, the college entrance examination results are out. Have you checked your scores? Li Yuan was startled, The college entrance examination scores are out so quickly. I haven't checked yet. How many points did you get? Wang Shui's tone was very happy. He, not bad, 538 points, should be able to reach the second tier line. Li Yuan only remembered that the first tier line in Anhui province in 2008 was 563 points, and he just exceeded the first tier line by 40 points. If he went to a university in other provinces, his score could get him into an ordinary 211 university, but not in Shanghai. Li Yuan went to the website to check his scores. Chinese 118, Mathematics 136, English 102, Comprehensive Science 247. Exactly the same as in the previous life, his English score was relatively poor. He vaguely remembered that Baiwaxi's English score was more than 140 points, much better than his. Wang Shui, how is it? Have you checked? How many points did you get? Li Yuan replied, 603 points, about the same as I estimated. Wang Shui, 603 points, that's not bad. You must have passed the first tier line and can go to a good university. By the way, Brother Yuan, please pay attention to the QQ group message. The teacher will hold a class meeting tomorrow afternoon. Li Yuan was stunned. A class meeting? It seems that he had this in his previous life. At that time, he was still Baiwaxi's dog. Opening the group message, the monitor really sent a message in the group: a class meeting will be held in class 22 at 3 p.m. on June 26. After Wang Shui hung up the phone, Yang Zhen, Suji, Zhang Zhongding and other classmates also called to ask. Brother Yuan, I only scored 460 points. I don't think I can reach the undergraduate line. I should review. Zhang Zhongding's tone was a little depressed. Among the 5 starting players in class 22, he scored the worst. The other 4 scored at least 510 points, which was enough to get into a third-tier university. Li Yuan smiled and comforted, Zhongding, you can repeat the year. Ask your teacher if he will offer a repeat class. Work hard and you will definitely be able to improve next year. Well, I won't say anything more. After my mother knew the results, she has grounded me. I can only study at home and can't go anywhere. This summer, I can't play ball or learn to drive with you. That's it, I'm done. Li Yuan could hear that Zhang Zhongding was in a very bad mood. This is very normal. Failing the college entrance examination is much more serious than a broken heart. Especially Zhang Zhongding's parents are both in the system. His father is the director of a major bureau and his mother is the chief doctor of a county hospital. They value grades even more and require him to take the college entrance examination. The college entrance examination is the first watershed. Since the college entrance examination results have been determined, Li Yuan is ready to call his mother to report the good news. The reason why his parents are still in their hometown is to wait for Li Yuan's college entrance examination results to be released. As soon as the call was connected, his mother Xiaqin asked, Xiao Yuan, have the college entrance examination results come out? How did you do? Li Yuan, Mom, the results are out. I scored 603 points. 603 points? How about the results? What kind of university can I go to? Xiaqin asked. She didn't know much about the college entrance examination and universities. Li Yuan explained, Mom, my score can go to a key university. Which university I can go to depends on the situation after filling in the application. Chapter 12 Rebirth in 2008, Picking up a leak in the second tier 985. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 12. In their hometown, Li Heng and Xiaqin were tending to the vegetable garden. When they heard that Li Yuan scored 603 points, the wrinkles on their faces were all melted away. Mother, ask Xiao Yuan what major he is going to apply for, Father Li Heng reminded. Xia Qin shouted, that's your son, why don't you ask yourself? Here, I'll call you. Li Heng took the phone and said in a low voice, Xiao Yuan, after the college entrance examination results come out, what major are you going to apply for? Dad, I haven't decided yet, let's wait and see. 603 points, maybe I can go to Huizhou Medical University. I heard from your uncle that studying medicine is not bad, the future is very stable, the salary is also high, and it's also face-saving to say it out. Dad, I don't want to study medicine, so don't worry about it. I have my own plans. Li Yuan replied that it was impossible for him to study medicine. Although there are such jokes on the internet, if you persuade people to study medicine, you will be struck by lightning, if you persuade people to study law, you will be cut into pieces. But in fact, these two majors are quite good, but they are difficult to learn and very time-consuming. He was reborn, but he still went to study medicine, which was a difficult thing for him. Isn't it because he was full and couldn't think straight? Okay, you can do it yourself. You should carefully consider choosing a major. Your mother and I don't understand it either. You should ask your teachers and classmates. Well, I know, Dad, I have something else to do, so I'll hang up first. Li Heng looked at Xia Qin. Xiao Yuan's grades are out. I plan to go back to the Northeast in advance to make more money. Can you stay at home? Xia Qin frowned and said nothing. She also wanted to stay at home longer, but thinking about Li Yuan and Li Zixia, one is about to go to college and the other is about to go to high school. The expenses required are very high, and the annual income of the two may not be enough to spend. If she continues to stay at home, she will be bored. Then go back first. When school starts soon, we will come back and hold a graduation banquet for Xiao Yuan. Well, that's it. In 2 days, when Xiao Yuan comes back from the city, we will leave. Li Yuan just hung up the phone, and another call came in. Looking at the phone number, he was slightly startled, a little confused and surprised. He wanted to hang up directly, but after thinking for a moment, thinking of the fish farming and first blood plans, he answered the call. A pleasant, crisp, and familiar voice came from the phone. Li Yuan, how have you been recently? Bai Wuxi's voice was a little nervous and shy. Li Yuan felt puzzled. What do you mean? It's just like that. Bai Wuxi said gently, the college entrance examination results are out. How did you do? Li Yuan pretended to be angry and sneered, what does it have to do with you? Why should I tell you? Bai Wuxi finally mustered up the courage to call Li Yuan. Hearing his stiff tone, she felt very sad. Thinking about the fact that the two had no contact for more than a week, she couldn't help but ask. Li Yuan, what did I do wrong? Why do you treat me like this? You don't reply to text messages or QQ messages. Li Yuan said unhappily, who are you to me? Why should I reply to your messages? It's funny. Bai Wuxi, who has always been generous and gentle, broke down directly, Li Yuan, just because I rejected you, you treat me like this. Love can't stand the test? You disappoint me so much. After that, Bai Wuxi was so angry that she hung up the phone directly. In the bedroom, Bai Wuxi couldn't help but shed tears, her eyes were blank, she didn't know why. After Li Yuan showed a cold response, she felt very uncomfortable. Could it be that I like him too? No, I just don't want to lose such a good friend. It's been 3 years, I'm used to him being by my side, why did it suddenly become like this? Is it so important to confirm the relationship? I clearly allowed him to hold hands. He's so excessive, I don't want to care about him anymore. Bai Wuxi looked at the transcript on the computer, Chinese 128, Mathematics 126, English 142, Science 246, Total score 642. The results were better than she thought, and Li Yuan contributed a lot to this. Her math and physics were not very good at first, but Li Yuan spent a lot of time every day tutoring her, and then slowly improved. The reason why she called, in addition to wanting to ease the relationship with Li Yuan, also meant to share his joy with him. Who knew what I got in return? Li Yuan, if you still treat me like before, I would still treat you as my own brother. Why do you seem to have changed after your confession failed? I didn't reject you explicitly. As long as you work hard, I will still choose you. Li Yuan hung up the phone, feeling a little irritated. He wanted to say something nice and raise fish in reverse. But every time Bai Wuxi appeared, he couldn't help but want to get angry, without the scheming of a middle-aged man. I've said this, she should give up completely and give up on me. It's good this way. Only by breaking up cleanly can I start a new life. When I enter university, will I still lack beautiful girlfriends? It's good to chase them. Li Yuan thought about what major to apply for and what university to go to. His score was embarrassing, in the upper middle position, not enough for 985, and barely enough to reach the threshold of 211 universities. However, because the application form at this time is not a parallel application model, there is a high possibility of being rejected, so you need to be very cautious in choosing a school and major, and luck plays a part. In his previous life, he applied for Shanghai Polytechnic University, an ordinary first-tier university. Suddenly, he thought of an interesting story. He remembered that in the recruitment exams in 2008, there were often unexpected phenomena. In some provinces, students who just passed the first-tier line can pick up leaks to famous universities such as Peking University, Shanghai Jiaotong University, and University of Science and Technology of China. If I remember correctly, there is a 985 university in Shanghai this year. The scoreline in Anhui province is very low. There is a lucky person in the next class 23. He only scored more than 580 points and got into a 985 university that requires 630 or 640 points to enter. I can definitely pick up a leak. Reborn in 2008, pick up a 985 in the second tier. Li Yuan's mind became active. The reason why he remembered this news was actually related to Bai Wuxi, because the university Bai Wuxi applied for was the one that was picked up. Bai Wuxi scored a few points, more than 640 points, more than 60 points higher than the lucky guy who got the chance. Since I'm reborn, I can only be the one who gets the chance. The next afternoon, Li Yuan rode his bicycle to school wearing a brand sportswear and the basketball shoes he bought that day. Before Li Yuan entered the door, he heard the classmates in the class making loud noises. Li Zhenqiang, Wang Shui, Daji, you guys are great, even the basketball shoes you wear are the same. Wang Shui smiled, how about it, isn't it cool, Kobe's signature combat boots? Nike Kobe's signature shoes, are they real or fake? A pair costs more than 1,000. Let me see, damn, it's really Kobe's 4th generation. Su Ji was in a good mood. He scored more than 560 points, almost reaching the first-tier line. He grinned and chuckled, little Li, do you know who bought this for us? Li Zhenqiang asked curiously, why, this was given to you by someone else, who is so generous. It's several thousand yuan. The other boys in the class also came over curiously. A pair of basketball shoes costs thousands of yuan, which is their living expenses for 2 months. Suji, Zhang Zhongding, Wang Shui, Yang Zhen, Ge Chaiyu each bought a pair, which means 5 or 6,000 yuan. Tell me quickly, who sent it to you? I just searched online, and the price of this pair of shoes on the official website is so high that I can't even think about it. I'm different, I dare to dream. Wang Shui posed, blew his non-mainstream long hair, and was about to speak, "It's Li." Li Yuan coughed quickly and patted Wang Shui on the shoulder. "Ahem, Wang Shui, don't talk nonsense." Wang Shui turned around and saw that it was Li Yuan, and smiled quickly. He, keep a low profile, I understand, brother Yuan." Li Zhenqiang saw that Li Yuan was also wearing the same basketball shoes, and asked in surprise, "Li Yuan, how come you also have Kobe 4, and it was also given by someone?" Li Yuan raised his eyebrows and answered vaguely, "Well, I guess so. I helped an old lady cross the road on the road. She saw that I was kind-hearted and insisted on giving me a few pairs of shoes." Wang Yuchen suddenly said, "Ha ha, scumbag, men's mouths are deceiving ghosts." New book, please read and collect. Chapter 13 Li Yuan, I'm allergic to green tea. Wang Yuchen curled her lips. She used to have a good impression of Li Yuan and thought that Bai Wuxi and Li Yuan could get along. But now, she only used the word scumbag to describe Li Yuan. Li Yuan looked at her angry look and laughed, "Scumbag. When did I cheat on you? How come I didn't know?" Wang Yuchen stared at her with big eyes angrily. "You know what you did." Li Yuan glanced at Wang Yuchen's curvy figure. Putting aside her appearance, her figure is still top-notch. "You make me sound like I'm really unforgivable. Then tell me, what did I do?" You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 13. Wang Yuchen wanted to continue talking. Suddenly, Bai Wuxi's voice came faintly, "Yuchen, stop talking." Bai Wuxi stared at Li Yuan with her beautiful eyes, her eyes flashing with expectation, but Li Yuan didn't even look at her, and went directly to Wang Shui. "Xiao Shui, give me your seat." Wang Shui stood up obediently. "Brother Yuan, where should I sit?" Li Yuan glanced at Bai Wuxi. "Nonsense, let's change seats, you naturally have to sit in my seat." Wang Shui suddenly shuddered, feeling a murderous gaze like a ray of light on the back. "Brother Yuan, please spare me, I'm afraid that I will be killed by someone's gaze." Li Yuan was speechless. "You are a man, are you afraid of a little girl?" Wang Shui smiled and asked, "Brother Yuan, that was originally your seat, why don't you go and sit there, and occupy my seat?" Li Yuan spread his hands. "You know, I'm allergic to green tea recently." Wang Shui was puzzled, "But didn't you like drinking green tea before?" Li Yuan was too lazy to explain. The two green teas have different tastes and ingredients. This green tea is not that green tea, forget it, you won't understand even if I tell you. Just say whether to change it or not. Wang Shui looked embarrassed. "Brother Yuan, you also know that I am allergic to beautiful women." "I don't believe you," Li Yuan complained. "Brothers, everyone knows that Wang Shui's favorite thing to do is to peek at beautiful women. A pack of Yuxi, do you want to go?" "Brother Yuan, you are wrong, I like to look at beautiful women the most." Wang Shui nodded like a rattle when he heard it. "Go, I must go, Brother Yuan's business is my business." After saying that, he came to Bai Wuxi and prepared to sit down with a heroic look. Bai Wuxi didn't expect that Li Yuan, her desk mate, would not even want to sit next to her. After the loss, she was ashamed and angry. She was a recognized school beauty. The boys who wanted to sit next to her could be ranked from class 1 to class 30, but she had always chosen to sit at the same table with Li Yuan for 2 years. She was not used to having someone else around her. "Li Yuan, why did he treat me like this? It embarrassed me." Bai Wuxi became more and more angry as she thought about it. Thinking of all the things that had happened in the past half a month, she could no longer stop her tears. The big tears fell directly. Wang Shui stared at the scene in a daze, not knowing how to advance or retreat. Finally, He tiptoed to Li Yuan and sighed, "Brother Yuan, I can't control this situation. You should come in person." Baiwaxi's low sobbing also caused discussions among other classmates in the class. Did Li Yuan and Baiwaxi have a conflict? I heard that after the college entrance examination, Li Yuan officially confessed to Baiwaxi, and was rejected. No way, Li Yuan was rejected even with such conditions. Baiwaxi's standards are too high. Who knows? Didn't you see Baiwaxi crying on the table? Li Yuan is really a bastard. He can even make the school beauty in our class cry. There must be something else going on. In fact, I think Li Yuan is pretty good. He is tall and handsome, his family is rich, his grades are good, and he can play basketball. He is my type. Then you go after him. Anyway, Baiwaxi rejected him, so maybe you can take advantage of the opportunity. The whole class knows the relationship between Li Yuan and Baiwaxi, otherwise they would not have sat at the same table for more than a year. Li Yuan felt the gazes coming at him, full of various meanings, and frowned. Under the gazes of the whole class, he looked like a scumbag who abandoned his lover after having sex. There was no way to explain this kind of thing. Baiwaxi was a girl, a school beauty, and she was crying quietly, so she could naturally win sympathy. Damn, her level of green tea is too high, I am really convinced, Li Yuan cursed in his heart. He stood up and went directly to his seat. The high school classroom was crowded. After Li Yuan sat down, his body accidentally touched Baiwaxi. At this time, it was just the beginning of summer, and everyone was wearing cool clothes. Baiwaxi was wearing a simple t-shirt, and her arms, as white as lotus roots, were extremely dazzling. She seemed to have put on light makeup today, and she exuded a faint scent of perfume. Feeling the touch of Li Yuan's arm, the smoothness between the skin was like an electric current flashing. Baiwaxi's crying became much weaker, and she quietly raised her head. There were still tears in her sparkling eyes. "Li Yuan, do you hate me so much?" Li Yuan met Baiwaxi's expectant eyes and spoke calmly, interrupting her fantasy, "Yes." Baiwaxi didn't expect Li Yuan to be so heartless. Tears in her eyes flowed down her flawless white cheeks like a stream. "You are lying to me, right? Are all the things you did for me before fake?" Li Yuan spoke without hesitation, breaking her fantasy and disguise, "Yes, they are all fake." In his previous life, after knowing that Baiwaxi had kept it a secret from him and had other boyfriends, and that he was just a fish in her fish pond, he collapsed instantly, became silent, didn't like to communicate with others, became autistic, and then began to give up on himself. For Baiwaxi, his deep love turned into endless hatred. Even though he graduated from college more than 10 years ago and was reborn, the resentment still did not dissipate. In his previous life, he was a poor boy, and because of a special accident, he was a poor boy who was revealed to be a rich second generation. Baiwaxi stared at Li Yuan in a daze. That tone, that look, that gaze. She felt something in her heart suddenly broke. Just as he was about to open his mouth to explain, the head teacher walked in. There was a moment of silence in the classroom. The class teacher's name is Wang Hongguang. He is in his 40s. He has a Mediterranean hairstyle, a potbelly, and greasy skin. He looks like a middle-aged man. "Students, the college entrance examination results came out yesterday, and you all checked your scores. We, class 22, did pretty well in the test this time. There were 3 students who scored over 600 points, 15 students who scored over 550 points, and 42 students who scored over 500 points, accounting for about half. Of course, there are also some who have average performance and unsatisfactory results. They can also consider studying for another year and sprinting toward undergraduate studies. I will announce the previous results. First place, Baiwaxi 642, second place, Ding Yang 618, 3rd place, Li Yuan 603, and 15th place, Su Ji 565. Hearing the class teacher read out the scores of the top 15 students in the class, a total of 87 students in class 22 of senior high school had different expressions, some were happy and some were worried. Although the results are out, how to choose a school, choose a major, and fill in the application form are the most important things. Now, let me tell you how to fill in the application form. Please read the new book and collect it. Chapter 14. Who will take the civil service exam after being reborn? The head teacher, Lao Wang, was talking in class, his face was glowing, and he seemed to be in a good mood. There are skills in filling out your application for the college entrance examination. You must not fill in all the popular universities and majors. You must set your goals appropriately, so that it is not easy to slip and you will not be admitted. Otherwise, if you repeat the year again, your results may not be the same. Better. Interest is the best teacher. The major you apply for must be one you like. Boys can apply for mechanical design and automation, civil engineering, computers, biological sciences, etc. These are all popular majors. The 21st century is a century of science and technology. With the rapid development of our motherland, emerging fields such as basic sciences, life sciences, computer internet, etc. are booming and have broad prospects. Girls can apply for majors in medicine, normal education, finance, etc. The salary is high, the employment prospects are broad, and the job is very stable. As a special grade teacher who has been working for decades, Lao Wang has a good vision. He speaks clearly, and he has obviously made careful preparations. Li Yuan wanted to complain, but didn't know how to speak. What Lao Wang said cannot be said to be wrong, but it is not suitable for most ordinary boys. Compared with the suggestions for boys, the suggestions for girls are of great reference significance. Choose a school for liberal arts, and choose a major for science. Especially for ordinary people who are not in the top 985 or 211 universities, a good major determines the future height. They belong to the class of 2008. By the time they graduated from college, it was already 2012. The world had changed drastically, and many majors had no market. And the end of the universe is Kaogong. In his opinion, those ordinary college students who have graduated from an ordinary undergraduate degree are better off applying for a major suitable for the public examination, preparing for it during college, and then taking the examination in a developed coastal area. They can also earn dozens of dollars every year, which is no better than the 985 of those big companies. Poor coder. If he hadn't already made his first pot of gold and was still doing nothing, he might have considered this path. In college, he tried to find a way to get into D, and then took the route of selection, provincial examination, and national examination. With 4 years of targeted hard study in college and the advantage of being a fresh graduate, he had this confidence. As for now, when the stock market results come out in more than a month, he may have achieved financial freedom. You've already been reborn, who's going to take the civil service exam? Li Yuan was thinking about it in his mind. Suddenly I felt a touch on my arm, and a slightly fragrant whisper came to my ear. My mother asked me to apply for a university in Shanghai, will you go? Li Yuan directly stopped her thoughts, I won't go. Bai Wuxi, who was originally full of expectations, immediately became very disappointed, and smiled to himself, are the promises we made so worthless? Li Yuan was silent. He and Bai Wuxi had made an agreement to go to the same city and attend the same university together. He did this in his previous life. Although they didn't go to the same university, they went to the same city. Bai Wuxi looked at Li Yuan and suddenly felt strange. He was not like this before. This strange feeling made her upset and at a loss as to what to do. Bai Wuxi's face was as white as snow, with a trace of tears hanging on it. She looked at Li Yuan and said in a very soft voice, "Brother, will we meet again in the future? If the confession fails, chase her bestie." Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 14. Li Yuan replied coldly, "No, give up." Bai Wuxi's last hope was shattered, and he stared at Li Yuan blankly, as if he wanted to engrave him in his heart forever. This class meeting was mainly for classmates to get together and explain how to choose a university and fill in the application form. In 2008, the college entrance examination application form was very important, and a step difference might make a world of difference. On the school playground, Wang Shui poked Li Yuan's arm and reminded him, "Brother Yuan, Bai Wuxi seemed to cry when she left." Li Yuan said coldly, "She cried for her own good, what does it have to do with me?" Wang Shui was about to say that she cried because of you, but seeing Li Yuan's face, he didn't say anything after all. These days, he also saw some clues. Li Yuan's personality and attitude are completely different from before. He was very confused. Would a rejection of a confession really have such a big impact on a person? Moreover, Bai Wuxi didn't reject him completely, and she cried for him several times. If a school beauty can cry for him, he will remember it for the rest of his life. Brother Yuan, the results are out. According to last year's score line, you should be able to go to an ordinary 211 university. Have you considered what to choose? Li Yuan has already made a decision in his heart, but there is no need to say it now. I haven't thought about it yet. I should go to a big city. There will be more opportunities in a big city. Wang Shui also agreed, big cities are good, but the housing prices are too high. The housing prices in the capital and the Magic City are more than 11,000 yuan per square meter, which is too scary. Houses are just for living, how can they be hyped up so expensive? Li Yuan thought to himself, this is just the beginning. After 10 years, the housing prices in the capital and the Magic City will soar more than 10 times the current level. Even this small county town under my feet will soar to 8,000 or 9,000 yuan per square meter in the future. Thinking that Wang Shui's family was still doing well and had some money to spare, he pretended to sigh casually, "Xiao Shui, I feel that housing prices will continue to soar in the future. If I had a few million now, I would buy a few houses in the capital or the Magic City. I wouldn't have to worry about anything in my life and I could become a multimillionaire just by lying down." Wang Shui disagreed with Li Yuan's opinion, house prices can't go up. This year's global economic crisis has caused house prices to fall again and again. It's good enough to keep the current house prices. Buying a house now is the same as joining the Guo army in 1949. Li Yuan wanted to persuade Wang Shui to buy a house in a big city, but after hearing what he said, he decided to forget it. Everyone has his own destiny. He hasn't gotten out of it yet, so what qualifications does he have to guide others? "Xiao Shui, I think you can consider computer science when filling out your application. Computer science will be very popular in the future." Wang Shui had no interest in computers and shook his head to refuse. "I am interested in chemistry. As you know, my chemistry grades are pretty good. I plan to apply for chemistry-related majors." Li Yuan was speechless. For the future of his good friend, he decided to persuade him again, interest cannot be used as a meal. "I still recommend computer science. You can think about it carefully." "Okay, I'll think about it." "Brother Yuan, are you going to take a driver's license test during the summer vacation?" "I'm going to take a driver's license test." Taking a driver's license test during the summer vacation was originally in his plan. Li Yuan nodded, "I'm going to register tomorrow, together." Wang Shui smiled and said, "Okay, Yang Zhen and Daji are also going to take the exam, but Zhongding didn't perform well in the college entrance examination, and his mother has put him under house arrest. He will go to Lao Wang's repeat class in a few days. You don't have to worry about Zhongding. For him, repeating is much more important than going to college. Li Yuan thought that in his previous life, among the 5 of them, Zhang Zhongding seemed to have the best development. In the future, he might even become a deputy county-level official. Wang Shui disagreed, then see you tomorrow. I have to go home and study the college entrance examination guide carefully to choose a suitable university and major. Well, then let's go to the driving school to register together tomorrow. Chapter 15 Brother Yuan, you must be a rich second generation, seeking to read. There are 3 driving schools in the county. Li Yuan and his friends went to Chunli Driving School in the west of the city. High school graduates can enjoy a 20% discount by registering with their student ID cards. The 4 of them went to the driving school to register together. Each of them spent 2,800 yuan for a C1 license. They registered in late June and could get their licenses at the end of August. At that time, the driving schools, especially in small counties, were not strictly managed. Li Yuan only handed over 2 Yuxi cigarettes and received special care from the coach. Hey, Brother Yuan, you are still good at handling things. We have 4 people in one car, so we can practice to our heart's content. Wang Shui and others were already used to Li Yuan's generosity. If they were asked to hand over cigarettes, they would probably feel embarrassed and reluctant. 2 Yuxi cigarettes for 400 yuan. Li Yuan knew everything about the driving school. Most of the coaches were laymen. To deal with laymen, you have to use layman's methods. As a result, they practiced much faster. Just 1 week after registering, they made an appointment for the first subject test. For the practice of the second subject, Li Yuan, as an old driver in his previous life, only needed the coach to give him casual guidance once to be able to operate proficiently. Yang Zhen was shocked to see Li Yuan complete the second part of the reverse parking, parallel parking, curve driving, and ramp parking and starting steps in one go. Yuanzi, you didn't know how to drive before. Su Ji was also very curious. He is a rich second generation, his family must have a car. Wang Shui laughed and said, that's for sure. Brother Yuan must be a rich second generation. His family has a mine. In this era, there are still relatively few private cars. Those who can drive private cars are either rich or noble. Li Yuan has always been generous. After giving each of them a pair of Nike basketball shoes worth thousands of dollars, he became more determined to do so. Li Yuan laughed and boasted, I'm not a rich second generation. My family is very poor, a peasant family, much worse than yours, so naturally I don't have a car. As for driving, it may be that I am gifted and can learn anything quickly. He didn't lie. After his rebirth, his memory and learning ability have indeed improved a lot compared to before. Even the speed and inspiration of typing have been greatly improved. Some of the works he had seen in his previous life, the content and stories are clearly presented in his mind. This can also be regarded as an invisible plug-in brought by rebirth. Tisk. Who would believe you if you said you were poor? You're wearing world-famous brands like Nike and Adidas, which add up to 2,000 or 3,000, Su Ji said with some envy. It was okay before. After the college entrance examination, Li Yuan was really generous with his money. Li Yuan was helpless. I'm telling the truth, why doesn't anyone believe it? In the county hospital, when he heard his parents call and say they were leaving and returning to the northeast, Li Yuan hurried back home and took them for a physical examination. While waiting for the results of the physical examination, Li Yuan wanted to tell his parents about his money so that they wouldn't have to work so hard in the wind, sun, cold, and heat, but he didn't know how to explain it. The first pot of gold from sports lottery, plus the money used to speculate in stocks, conservative parents may not be able to accept it easily. They may nag at home for a long time. After thinking for a while, Li Yuan could only keep it in his heart for the time being, and prepare to tell them after the manuscript fee is released. In any case, being a writer with a monthly salary of hundreds of thousands of yuan sounds more serious than stock speculation. Dad, Mom, why don't you stay at home for a while? You can leave after I get the admission letter. Father Li Hong had been bored at home for a long time. His character was that of a workhorse who couldn't sit still. He had been working hard for his livelihood all his life. He said in a deep voice, "It's okay to stay at home. You can make more money if you go earlier. If you don't go for a long time, those regular customers will be gone." Xiaqin also echoed, "We will come back when your school is about to start. We don't know about filling out the application form. You can ask the teacher more." Parents were determined to leave, and Li Yuan couldn't stop them. He was thinking in his heart that when he arrived in Shanghai, he would open a store and let his parents go to Shanghai to develop. After the physical examination results came out, Li Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. His mother had a little gastroenteritis and needed to take some medicine for treatment. His father had a little high blood pressure and fatty liver, but there was no problem with other things. Parents took the train to the city the next day. Like in previous years, my younger sister Li Zixia was taken to live with her grandmother. A week later, Li Yuan successfully passed the first subject test, and the second subject test was scheduled for 2 weeks later. In the internet cafe, Li Yuan logged onto the stock website to check the increase in the Salt Lake shares he bought. He invested 6 million in this stock. When he bought it, it was 4.1 yuan per share. Now, just over half a month has passed, and it has grown to 6.2 yuan per share, an increase of more than 50%, and it is still continuing to soar. If he sells the stocks in his hands now, he can make a net profit of more than 3 million. It's only been half a month. Li Yuan understands why the associate professor of the college in his previous life has been bragging about this for several years. It's really nice to see the wealth increase significantly every day. According to the professor, this ticket should be able to increase until the end of July. Just pay attention to it occasionally. By the end of July, no matter how much you earn, just sell it directly, Li Yuan said in his heart. He is not a greedy person, and the stock market is very deep. If he gets stuck, the first pot of gold he has worked so hard to earn will be lost. In addition to investing in stocks, Li Yuan has spent most of his time writing during this period. The number of free chapters of Battle Starry Sky has reached 130,000 words, and there are 3 rivers recommended and big promotions in the last week before it can be put on the shelves. And the performance is already a level that is far ahead of others in the new book list. Recommendation tickets, 63,000, monthly tickets, 12,000, collections, 89,000, paid follow-up reading, 23,000. It can be said that it is extremely popular, even beyond Li Yuan's imagination. The attitude of the editor to him is getting better and better. If the recommendation is full, there is no problem with more than 100,000 collections, and the first order is very likely to create a record for Yuandian Chinese network. Xin Kong, Zaiwa, tomorrow it will be recommended by Sanjiang, and then it will be recommended by the Big Book. The results are still growing. Please work hard these days and save more manuscripts. After it is put on the shelves, I will definitely follow it. Li Yuan, don't worry, I already have more than 300,000 words in the manuscripts, and I will prepare to put it on the shelves for a few months. With the improvement of memory after rebirth, his typing speed has increased compared with his previous life, and his inspiration is endless. He can already stabilize at a speed of 5,000 words per hour, which is faster than the average pinyin typing speed. If there is a battle power list at this time, he will definitely be at the top. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 15. Xin Kong, are there so many archived manuscripts? Then I'm relieved. However, you should also pay attention to your health. You don't need to work so hard. The most important thing is to maintain good content quality. In the teacher's apartment building next to number 4 middle school, Bai Wuxi played the guitar and hummed softly, but the song sounded very sad. Outside the bedroom, Bai Wuxi's parents frowned and whispered, "My daughter is always absent-minded after the college entrance examination. She doesn't seem to be in a good mood. I even caught a glimpse of her hiding in bed wiping tears. Lao Bai, tell me, will my daughter fall in love prematurely?" Tian Tiankai stood up suddenly. He was about to say something, but he sat down with a sigh, his voice a little dull. "Wuxi has been a sensible child since she was a child. She should not fall in love prematurely. Besides, how can any girl who falls in love prematurely be able to pass the college entrance examination? 642 points, first in the class." Yang Jinyu was non-committal and glanced secretly into the room with a worried look on her face. "Although Wei 11 is obedient and sensible, I'm still a little worried." Bai Tiankai suddenly said, "How about after my daughter fills out her college entrance examination application, we can take advantage of the summer vacation to travel together as a family of 3 to relax." Yang Jinyu immediately beamed with joy when she heard that she was going to travel. Because of her daughter's schooling and financial reasons, they rarely traveled after they got married. "It's okay to travel, but what about my daughter's aspirations?" When I asked her where she wanted to go to school, she was too bored to say anything. Bai Tiankai said with a mouthful, "You are a mother, you can test your daughter's temperament. I don't want her to go too far, just stay in Luzhu." Yang Jinyu immediately objected, "What's good about Luzhu is to go to a big city. The weather in the imperial capital is bad and there are often sandstorms. I think it would be good to go to the magical capital. The scenery there is pleasant. When I go to college, let Wei 11 find a boyfriend who is local to Shanghai, so that she doesn't have to come back to this small county, and she doesn't have to be like me, who had to suffer a lifetime of marrying in a small place like this. As a result, I now have a natal family. I can't even go back. My parents are right, you have to be a good match to get married. From now on, I will definitely not agree with my daughter marrying a man from a bad family." Bai Tiankai was a little unhappy. He was from the countryside in a small county, while Yang Jinyu was from the city in Jiangsu province. The chain of discrimination between cities and between urban and rural areas was deeply rooted. It's better to respect your daughter's own opinions. Chapter 16, A job with a monthly salary of 1 million. Seeking for further reading. Time flies, and another week passes in the blink of an eye. In the vehicle management office, 4 people, Li Yuan, Suji, Wang Shui, and Yang Zhen, successfully passed subject 1. Wang Shui laughed and said, "The first subject is quite simple, with a passing score of 90. I scored 98 and passed." Whenever there was a difficult subject, it was just general knowledge questions. The questions were all the same. "I just watched them all night and got 100 points," Suji said disdainfully. Li Yuan thought to himself that when he graduates from high school, it is the peak of most college students' knowledge and memory. What else is worth talking about after taking the first subject? After the celebratory lunch, Wang Shui proposed to play basketball together, but Li Yuan said that he still had some time left and could not accompany them. Wang Shui asked very curiously, "Brother Yuan, what are you doing recently? You don't go out to play anymore. Are you in love?" "I'm talking about you, even if you're in love with a dog." Li Yuan laughed and cursed, and replied a little absent-mindedly, "I've been busy making money recently, and I'm almost dying of poverty." When Suji heard about making money, he became interested. "Brother Yuan, where can I make money? Is there any way to make money? I'm a little short of money recently." Li Yuan thought to himself, "You can't learn the way I make money. Writing online novels requires foundation and understanding. It is best to have a lot of experience in reading online novels." Suji and Wang Shui, like his previous life, basically have no other hobbies except playing basketball. There is already a lot of pressure to study in high school, so it would be nice to have a hobby. As for stocks, they require a certain amount of principal. They can come up with a few thousand yuan, and they have private money, but no more will be enough. Moreover, the stock market is risky, and he is only prepared to make a small profit and leave, but he does not dare to lead a few good friends astray. If he loses everything in the future, who will he reason with? Other small businesses might be able to earn hundreds of thousands, but he no longer cared about it at this time. I am also earning some hard-earned money. I will talk to you in detail when I have the opportunity. I will leave first. After Li Yuan finished speaking, he rode his bicycle to Qingtian Internet Cafe. Today is the release date for his first work since his rebirth, Battle of the Stars, and he hasn't had time to see the first order data yet. Log into the Origin Chinese website, and Li Yuan enters the author area to view background data. That's good, it's so awesome. Because it was released in the early morning, it has only been 12 hours, but the first order data of Battle Star Sky has reached 21,456, and the average order is 19,823. The follow-up order and average order are basically the same. The quality of this manual is very stable. On the day it was released, he wrote 50,000 words and updated 12 chapters. His half-day subscription income alone was more than 20,000 yuan. And in the follow-up, as he continues to explode, the number of words in Chapter V will increase, and the number of subscriptions will increase. Making $1 million a month is not a dream. The first subscription of Battle of the Stars has set a record for the first subscription of Origin Chinese website at this time. It is already a certainty. Tisk, before I go to college, I already have a job with a monthly income of 1 million. Li Yuan was in a happy mood. This sense of accomplishment was completely different from making money through sports betting and the stock market. Sports betting and stocks are all based on speculation, but writing novels is the fruit of one's hard work. In the month after his rebirth, he spent almost most of his time coding. Sitting in an internet cafe for 8 or 9 hours every day, tapping your fingers on the keyboard, is not that easy. Ordinary people simply cannot persist. Looking at the comment area, there are already more than 3,000 comments. I am Yao Lao. I sent money, the author is great. It has been put on the shelves. I have agreed to a communication group. Send it out as soon as possible. Nuaniang, the cute master has rewarded me. Hurry up and create a group. Don't force me to kneel down and beg you. Don't mess with me. Who has the author's address information? I want to send him something. If you ask what to send, it must be a razor blade. Are you also sending him fruit? Little follower, well, maybe the author is busy and didn't have time to create a group. Don't worry. Shuhuang asked for book recommendations. Shouldn't we discuss the plot? Why are we so obsessed with building a group? Don't mess with me. Upstairs, the author has already said that after it is released and a group is established, he will post some colorful extras in the group. All the flowers I have been waiting for have withered. Don't mess with me, dog author, come out quickly. If you don't come out, I will reward Bian Meng and bombard you with the whole screen. Li Yuan looked at the comments one by one and felt a very special sense of accomplishment in his heart. This was an experience he had never had before after 4 or 5 years of coding in his previous life. That's what writing a book is like. If you have readers to communicate with and have results to support it, you will have motivation. If you have motivation, the quality of the content can also be improved. Li Yuan directly posted the pre-established 1,000 people on the homepage and set fan entry restrictions. As soon as the group was established, a steady stream of readers entered the group directly. Don't mess with me. Wow, the author finally created a group, and I'm the first one. Nuaniang, the author is still trustworthy. Group leader, what about the extra updates for the leader you promised? I have already rewarded 10 leaders, and you owe me 10 chapters, Please pay me back as soon as possible. I am Yao Lao, and I give money. I also gave you a reward for that. You owe me an update. ID 89021, me too, I owe you a add one. Soon, fans who joined the group came in to fry fish one by one. Li Yuan was shocked. He took a closer look at the fans and found that although it was only the first day it was put on the shelves, it had already gained 11 alliance leaders and 1 Bian Meng. According to the promise of a league leader plus 1 update, he already owes 21 chapters of updates. It's better not to build it at all. They are all asking for more updates, Li Yuan muttered. He finally realized the troubles of the great author's happiness. This was something he had never experienced in his previous life. As a last resort, Li Yuan set up a group announcement in the group. The author is working hard on coding. Starting today, he will try to complete 21 additional chapters within 5 days on the basis of 3 updates per day of 12,000 words. After speaking, Li Yuan also took a vague picture of an internet cafe and the computer desktop where he was typing, showing that he was really typing. As Li Yuan spoke out in the group, the fan group, which already had more than 200 people, exploded in an instant, with messages one after another sending various inquiries. Ayo, I really want to know how old the author is. Is this in an internet cafe? I am a Yao Lao, and I am making money, Woko, Martian literature, non-mainstream. However, judging from the environment of the internet cafe, the author seems to be very young. Isn't he still a student? Don't mess with me, hey, the author has been greatly exposed. Since there are pictures, I can search where he is. Love to eat coriander, the author is probably not very old, but the writing is so good. I couldn't stop reading. I really want to know what the author looks like. The little urchin who loves to fight, the nympho upstairs, the appraisal is complete. Li Yuan watched the discussion among the fans for a while, smiled, and ignored it. 50,000 words have been updated since it was published today, and he still needs to speed up the speed of depositing the manuscript. Early stage success is more conducive to attracting follow-up subscriptions, maintaining fans, and increasing subscription revenue. These are lovely little pennies, and every word counts. He just needs some leisure now. When he goes to college, military training and professional courses may take up a lot of his time. The young man is willing to work hard, but the boss drives a Bentley. Come on, reborn boy. Chapter 17 After rebirth, does it matter which university you go to? On the 20th day after the results of the college entrance examination came out, the class teacher informed in the QQ group that the college entrance examination application form would be filled out in these 3 days, and all students were asked to go to the school complex to fill it out. When Li Yuan went, it was already the last day, and most of the students in the class had already filled out their applications. When Li Yuan arrived by bicycle, only a few people had not filled out their application forms. Even the head teacher, Lao Wang, was not there. He had already gone to lead the senior year review class. As soon as I entered the office in the complex building, 2 girls came towards me. One of them, a tall girl with a few pimples on her face, said hello. Li Yuan, why are you here? The whole undergraduate class was approved in advance, but you haven't filled out your application yet. Where are you going to apply? Since it was a classmate asking where to apply, there was nothing to hide. Li Yuan smiled directly and said, I'm going to apply to a university in Shanghai. Where are you guys? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 16. The tall girl named Dong Yukio had good grades in the class and was always ranked among the top 10. When she heard that Li Yuan was preparing to apply for college in Shanghai, her expression was stunned for a moment, with a hint of disappointment flashing through her face, and she replied with a smile. My mother didn't let me go to school so far away. I applied for a university in Jianyi, which is very close to our hometown. Jianyi is also a very good city. It was the ancient capital of the 6 dynasties. The culture, scenery, and city are all very good. There should be quite a few of our class going to school there, Li Yuan said with a smile. If he hadn't been working hard in the Magic City for many years in his previous life, he would also like to apply for university in Jianyi. Dong Yuqiu felt a little regretful. She had some thoughts about Li Yuan before, but because Li Yuan had been with Bai Wuxi all the time, she buried this faint feeling deeply. Now that Li Yuan and Bai Wuxi have broken up, if they both go to the same city, she may still have a chance. But Li Yuan is going to the Magic City, so he can only continue to bury the secret feeling in his heart. As far as I know, there are already 15 people in our class, and they have all applied to Jianyi University. The girl next to Dong Yuqiu suddenly said, it seems that there are only 5 people in our class who applied for the Magic City. Apart from you, there are only 4 other people, Bai Wuxi, Wang Yuchen, Wang Shui, and Su Ji. Li Yuan was not surprised by this. When Wang Shui filled out his application, he had already told him in advance that he wanted to follow Li Yuan and go to a big city. As for Su Ji, after he returned to his hometown in his previous life, he still stayed in Shanghai and worked hard in the education and tutoring industry. He was still unmarried when he was over 30. Not to mention Bai Wuxi, she has always yearned for life in a big city, and she will definitely choose the Magic City. Since the conversation ended on the day of the class meeting, Bai Wuxi never sent him a message again. It seemed that she had completely severed the relationship with him, and Li Yuan was happy to be clean. I also want to try my luck in a big city, Li Yuan said calmly. He looked familiar to this petite girl, but for a while, he couldn't remember who it was. After all, it was more than 10 years ago and we didn't have much contact before. Su Baibei glanced at Li Yuan with a deep look in her eyes, but didn't say much. Modu, he, I think someone will be very surprised when they find out. After a few more pleasantries, Dong Yuqiu waved his hand. Li Yuan, go ahead and fill in your application. We'll leave first. I wish you can go to an ideal university. Goodbye. Well, bye. In front of the computer, Li Yuan entered his information and filled out the volunteer application form. His first choice was naturally the 985 University in Shanghai, which he had missed out on in his previous life. His major was computer science. He had been a part-time programmer for several years in his previous life, and he knew that in the future, the computer internet would have extremely broad prospects. In addition, filling in this major will also help him start a business in college. The future is bound to be an era of the internet. Whether it is games, short videos, websites, etc., they are all closely related to computers, and the entrepreneurial direction in his mind must also use computer talents. In his previous life, he was only a part-time programmer. Although he was not proficient in technology, it was enough for him around 2008. As for whether he could be admitted, then just let it happen. Soon, Li Yuan filled out his application. School, Daxia University. Major, Computer. Whether to obey the adjustment, obey. In his opinion, what he wants is the golden name of 985 University. He has almost learned computer technology, even if he majors in other majors, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he had no intention of making a fortune through his profession. You have been reborn, what do you care about studying in college? Isn't it funny? Ordinary universities are okay, but if you can study in 985 and some upper-class 211 universities, your network resources will be very rich. Not to mention anything else, if you really succeed in starting a business and establish relationships with those college bosses, even if there are competitors who want to move you, you must consider it. Shopping malls are like battlefields. This is not just talk. It is a real war action. It really blocks other people's financial paths. All kinds of methods are used, and even humane elimination is not impossible. Although Li Yuan has a dull personality and low emotional intelligence, he is not an idiot in terms of IQ. In addition, with his work experience in the system, he has experienced various backstabbing and scapegoating, and he has long seen through the truth. As for his second choice, he also applied to an ordinary 211 university in Shanghai for science and engineering. His major was also computer, and he was subject to adjustments. The third choice, whether you fill it in or not, is meaningless. Generally speaking, if you are not admitted to the first choice, you will basically slip up. It is rare to miss the second choice, let alone the third choice. That's it, just wait for the results. It's really good to miss out on a 985 university. King Grand Street. Bai Wuxi, Wang Yuchen, and a slightly shorter female classmate were shopping in a boutique jewelry store. The topics the girls chatted about, besides celebrities, music, and clothes, were also about filling out their application for the recent college entrance examination. Su Baibei suddenly said, "Wei 11, I just got some new news this morning. Do you want to know?" Bai Wuxi's jade white face looked very cold, with an expression that kept strangers away, so that the boys who were passing by and wanted to strike up a conversation didn't dare to come forward. Hearing Su Baibei's question, she shook her head slightly, "I'm not interested, and I don't want to know." Su Baibei didn't take it seriously, her expression looked strange. "Wuxi, you definitely don't want to know that it has something to do with Li?" Wang Yuchen asked curiously, "Are you talking about Li Yuan, that scumbag? What happened to him? I heard from Su Ji that Li has been busy making money recently. He is busy every day and I don't know what he is doing." Su Baibei nodded and looked at Bai Wuxi with a smile. "The news I said is about Li Yuan. Wuxi, don't you really want to know?" Bai Wuxi's clear eyes flashed with charming colors, and her expression was slightly tangled. She didn't know what she felt about Li Yuan now. If you say there is no emotion, but when you are alone, you can't help but think of the bits and pieces of the 3 years since they met. The feelings in high school are the purest and most unforgettable. The two people are together and have many happy memories. Although the two are not really together, it is far beyond the general friendship between men and women. They have already held hands. If she said that she had fallen in love with him, she felt that she could not reach that level. She was afraid of losing him, but she didn't want to get too close. Her parents' unhappy marriage, their constant quarrels every day, her mother and her grandmother's family severing their mother-daughter relationship, all these have had an impact on her, making her not dare to embrace love completely. Hey, Wei 11, if you don't want to know, I won't tell you." Bai Wei 11 was stunned for a moment, but still looked at Su Baibei, and said, "Baibei, tell me." Su Baibei smiled, having expected this result, and pouted, "Humph, how can I tell you just because you tell me to? You have to say, Baibei, I want to know." Bai Wei 11's cheeks flushed, and she scratched Su Baibei, saying in a mosquito-like voice, "Baibei, I want to know." Seeing Bai Wuxi's shy expression, Su Baibei said with satisfaction, "He, do you know which university Li Yuan applied for?" Wang Yuchen rolled his eyes and immediately thought of something, and asked in surprise, "Could it be that Li the scumbag applied for Shanghai?" Su Baibei, "Yes, I met Li Yuan this morning when I was filling out the application form with Dong Yuqiu, and he said it himself." Wuxi, Li the scumbag must have gone to Shanghai for you. He has been pretending to be cool and playing hard to get recently, but now he has revealed his true colors, haha. Wang Yuchen looked like she had seen through everything, and she went to see Bai Wuxi's reaction. Bai Wuxi blushed, her mouth corners raised, her cold willow leaf eyebrows stretched out, and the cheerful smile on her cheeks amazed the whole summer, making Wang Yuchen want to kiss her. On the day of the class meeting, you clearly told me that you would not go to the Magic City. It turns out that was all your disguise. Bai Wuxi's smile was as bright as a flower at this moment. Chapter 18. What kind of business is Li Yuan doing? Seeing Bai Wuxi's reaction to the news, Su Baibei had an expression of as expected. With a hum, she pulled Bai Wuxi's arm and muttered, "Xiao Bai, you and Li Yuan still have each other in your heart. I feel there is a misunderstanding between you." Wang Yuchen frowned slightly. She thought of Li Yuan's cold attitude again and again, and couldn't help complaining. Li Yuan used to be very warm, why has he changed so much now? He looks cold every day, as if someone owes him millions. As she said, she pulled Bai Wuxi's little hand and reminded, "Xiao Bai, this is all a trick of boys playing hard to get. Just leave him alone and see what tricks Li the scumbag can play." Bai Wuxi's flawless face was full of smiles, and her long hair spread out. In the sunlight, she looked like an exquisite porcelain doll. She smiled shyly. "Yuchen, Bai Bei, don't say he is a scumbag. In fact, he is very good to me." Wang Yuchen was puzzled, "Then why did you reject his confession?" Bai Wuxi thought about it, his eyes were very serious. "I don't know either, I always feel that there is still a little feeling missing, maybe I don't know him well enough, I'm not sure about our future, I'm afraid that if I get involved, I will get hurt. In the past, we agreed to go to the same city and attend the same university." Wang Yuchen pouted, "It's just like me and Suji. I didn't agree to his confession, but he still sent me messages and asked about my well-being every day. Men, you can't spoil them, you have to train them well. Xiao Bai, you are still too naive. For someone like Li Yuan, if he doesn't take the initiative to find you, don't pay attention to him. With your conditions, I don't know how many stinky men you will fascinate when you go to college. Let Yuan regret it?" Bai Wuxi was stunned and speechless. Her intuition told her that Li Yuan had indeed changed. If she didn't take the initiative, she might really lose this good friend. Su Baibei asked curiously, "Xiao Bai, your score is much higher than his. You applied to Daxia University, right?" Bai Wuxi nodded, Yes, I applied to Daxia University and majored in accounting." Su Baibei, Daxia University is a 985 university. Li Yuan should not be able to get in. His score is 40 points lower than yours. Wang Yuchen smiled and said, "That's nothing. They are all in Shanghai and it's very fast to take a bus. The school I applied to is not far from Xiaobai's university. We can meet often in the future." Su Baibei teased, "You and your boyfriend are closer, right? Did you apply to the same university?" "Baibei, what do you mean by my boyfriend? I haven't agreed to him yet. I have to test him well. However, he insisted on applying to the same university as me, and I couldn't stop him." Wang Yuchen blushed. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 17. He and Suji have developed feelings for each other, which is somewhat similar to the situation of Bai Wuxi and Li Yuan, but the story development is completely different. Bai Wuxi also felt a little envious, which should have been her fantasy. She suddenly remembered what Li Yuan said to her on the day of the class meeting, "People always change, you will change, and I will change too." "But I have never changed, why did you change?" In Chunli driving school, Li Yuan and 4 others were practicing driving. They had passed the second subject and were practicing the third subject. Wang Shui was sitting in the co-pilot seat. Seeing Li Yuan driving steadily, he admired him very much. "Brother Yuan, your driving skills are so good. I think you are better than our coach's skills." Li Yuan raised his eyebrows. His current learning ability has indeed improved significantly. "I get nervous easily when driving. If I encounter other vehicles passing by on the road, I am afraid of hitting them, and it is easy to stall, Wang Shui muttered softly. Li Yuan smiled, driving is very simple, just be careful, steady, and calm. Once you get used to it, you will understand. Wang Shui looked at Suji, who was tapping the keys in the back seat, and teased with envy, Daji has a wife now, and has forgotten us brothers. He chats all day long. Suji laughed, Xiao Shui, I told you not to work hard to pursue her in high school. There are still many beautiful girls in our class. Who can you blame for not taking advantage of her? Wang Shui pouted, I am not as thick-skinned as you. I don't study hard and just think about dating. But Yuanzi and I, even if we think about dating, it doesn't affect our studies. Suji patted Li Yuan on the shoulder and teased, right, Yuanzi, can you improve your grades by urging, tutoring, and promoting each other with biwaxi? Li Yuan did not refute when he heard this. Not to mention, in the process of pursuing biwaxi for 3 years in high school, in order to establish self-esteem and better tutor biwaxi, he studied really hard and seriously. Young and naive feelings are sometimes a huge motivation. Seeing Li Yuan silent, Suji looked so proud, look, Yuanzi has admitted it, Xiao's why, the reason why you didn't get into a key university is because you didn't have a relationship in high school. Wang Shui glanced at Li Yuan, Yang Zhen, and Suji, and thought about it seriously. It seems that the three of them were really in love in high school, and their college entrance examination scores were better than his. Could it be that dating in high school really helps with learning? Then I must have a good relationship in college. It's best if my girlfriend is a gentle, beautiful, kind, and gentle senior sister. We can study together, learn together, and take walks together. Tisk tisk, it's all beautiful to think about it. Li Yuan couldn't help laughing, and didn't want to break Wang Shui's fantasy. It's indeed easy to fall in love in college, but it's too difficult to chase a beautiful senior sister with so many labels. Suddenly, in the car, a mobile phone rang. I hope you are my exclusive memory, put it in my heart, no matter how bad others say it, what I have now is that you give me half of the love. It's Chen Xiaokun's exclusive memory. It was an unfamiliar local number. At that time, there was no anti-fraud system. Li Yuan parked the car on the side of the road and answered the phone directly. Hello, who is this? Hello, Mr. Li, I am Wang Yu from Chinsin Real Estate. A voice came from the other end of the phone. Another telephone salesperson selling houses. Li Yuan muttered and was about to hang up. Suddenly he remembered that he had visited this agency more than a month ago to look at houses. At that time, he wanted to find a demolished house at a bargain price. In the past month, he was busy filling out applications, practicing driving, typing, and stock trading every day, and had long forgotten about it. Before Li Yuan opened his mouth, the voice on the other end of the phone came. Mr. Li, last time you said you wanted to buy a house, we have already negotiated the price. Do you have time to come to the store to discuss it in detail? Li Yuan said calmly, has it been negotiated? How much are they asking now? At this time, the transaction volume of real estate in the county was very low. Wang Yu would strive for every customer, even if she might get nothing. Her attitude was very serious. Mr. Li, the owner of a house in Baoyang is willing to reduce the price to 300,000, and the owner of Liulaiwang is willing to reduce the price to 250,000. After Wang Yu finished speaking, she was afraid that Li Yuan still thought it was too high, so she hurriedly explained, Mr. Li, because I am not sure whether you have a strong desire to buy, I need to confirm with you. If you really want it, I can negotiate the price down a little bit. Li Yuan's thoughts turned. After he entered the system in his previous life, he had seen the relevant files and materials on the development of the Chinnan New District. If the 3-room, 3-story house in Baoyang did not want resettlement housing, but only money, the compensation amount could reach nearly 2 million, which was already a sky-high price at that time. If he buys it now and waits for the demolition around the spring festival, he can make 6 or 7 times the profit in more than half a year. He is very excited. After thinking it over, Li Yuan said, "I really want the house. 300,000 is still a bit expensive. I will go there in the afternoon and discuss the price." Wang Yu was surprised and relaxed. "Then I will wait for you in the afternoon." After hanging up the phone, Li Yuan suddenly found that the atmosphere in the car was a bit weird. Wang Shui, Suji, and Yang Zhen all looked at him in stunned shock. "Why do you look like this? Is there something wrong with my face?" Wang Shui stammered, "Brother Yuan, you want to buy a house? Also, what kind of business are you doing? You keep talking about hundreds of thousands." Chapter 19 Admission Letter, Shocked Class. Not only Wang Shui was so curious, Su Ji and Yang Zhen also wanted to know how Li Yuan had so much money. In 2008, their families were considered good, but even so, each person had only 3 or 4,000 in private savings. But Li Yuan casually gave away shoes worth 5 or 6,000. The cigarettes he gave to the driving school were all Yuxi cigarettes worth more than 200 yuan, and he gave away 2 packs at once. The clothes he usually wears are world-famous brands such as Nike, Adidas, and Puma, and they cost thousands of yuan. Now he is even asking for hundreds of thousands of dollars in business. How can they not be shocked by these high school students who have not yet entered the university campus? You know, the monthly living expenses of most high school students nowadays do not exceed 500 yuan. Su Ji suddenly came up and asked in a cheesy way, "Brother Yuan, my dear brother is here, what kind of business are you doing? Can you guide me?" Li Yuan shuddered and felt his scalp tingling. This delicate voice sounded a bit like a pseudo girl. "It's really inconvenient to reveal the business I do. You will know it later." Although Su Ji was a little disappointed, he still smiled and said, "Brother Yuan, we brothers will follow you in the future. You must help us make a fortune." Li Yuan suddenly had an idea. Su Ji, Wang Shui, and Yang Zhen were all his good friends in this life and in the past. If they could help, it would be good. As for doing business and investing in stocks, he himself had no experience, and the water was too deep. Naturally, he would not pretend to be smart to guide, otherwise it would be bad if he made a mistake. Besides, Su Ji, Wang Shui and the other two were not necessarily good at doing business. Doing business also requires talent. So, if you don't want to be rich in the future, but just want to live comfortably, investing in real estate is undoubtedly the safest and most stable. Their family conditions are not bad. If they grit their teeth, their families can still support them to pay a down payment in Shanghai and Beijing. Xiaoshui, Daji, you will both go to school in Shanghai. If you believe me, try to convince your parents to buy you a house in Shanghai, even if it's just a down payment, you won't have to worry about it in this life. Wang Shui looked at Li Yuan in surprise. This was the second time Li Yuan persuaded him to buy a house in Shanghai. Could it be that the house in Shanghai will really soar in the future? It's already a sky-high price of more than 10,000 yuan per square meter. How much higher can it go? Brother Yuan, even if the house prices in Shanghai will really rise in the future, we can't convince my parents. Wang Shui spread his hands helplessly. Although they are already 18 years old and adults, they are still just children in the eyes of their parents. How can they control the financial power of the family? Li Yuan briefly proposed an idea. After you are admitted to a university in Shanghai, you must insist that you will stay in Shanghai and buy a house in the future, then it depends on your ability. If you can convince them, even if I only support you with a few 100,000 for the down payment, you don't have to worry about the future. Su Ji stared at Li Yuan curiously. Brother Yuan, how can you be sure that the housing prices in Shanghai will rise in the future? Li Yuan's heart skipped a beat, and he calmly said, nonsense, in half a month, the Beijing Olympics will open. By then, the subprime mortgage crisis in the United States will gradually pass. In addition, with the Shanghai World Expo in 2010, domestic industries will be eliminated, industries will be upgraded, basic industries will be vigorously developed, and infrastructure construction will be promoted at a high speed. It will usher in a new wave of economic explosion. The housing prices in Beijing, Shanghai, Jinling and other cities will inevitably soar. This time will not last long, and it will last for about 10 years at most. Su Ji and the other two were fascinated by what they heard, and they admired Li Yuan's knowledge very much. Brother Yuan, once the admission letter arrives, even if I have to roll on the ground, I must convince my parents to take out their savings and buy a house in Shanghai. Wang Shui already believed it in his heart. Su Ji asked again curiously, well, Brother Yuan, why don't you buy a house in Shanghai? Li Yuan replied, who said not to buy? I will buy it when school starts. In the afternoon, Li Yuan went to Chinsen Real Estate Agency to discuss issues such as the house deposit and handling fees. For the house deposit, Li Yuan directly paid 10,000 yuan, 5,000 yuan for a house. With the deposit, the real estate agency was more confident to negotiate the price with the owner. Just 2 days later, Wang Yu called, Mr. Li, the price has been negotiated to the lowest. The lowest price for Bali Yang's house is 280,000 yuan, and the lowest price for Li Yulai Wang's house is 250,000 yuan. They are all waiting to settle abroad. If you are willing, you can sign the contract now. Li Yuan thought about it and did not refuse. He agreed to go through the transfer procedures tomorrow. The next morning, Li Yuan immediately went to the internet cafe, logged into his securities trading account, and checked the market of Salt Lake shares. It has been more than a month since he bought Salt Lake shares, and now it is mid-July. According to the associate professor of the college in his previous life, the rise of Salt Lake shares has ended. The purchase price is 4.1 yuan per share, and after more than a month of crazy growth, the price of a single share of Salt Lake shares has reached 23.5 yuan, an increase of more than 450%, which is one of the few dark horses in the entire domestic stock market. Li Yuan simply calculated that the 6 million yuan principal he invested has risen to more than 33 million after more than a month. Even after deducting stamp duty and other taxes, he still has more than 32 million principal and interest. Although it may continue to rise, there is no need to take this risk. Just throw it all away. If someone treats it as a fat pig and harvests it, it will be really sad. Because the price has been rising sharply, Li Yuan easily sold all his shares in Salt Lake. And his bank securities account also had more than 32 million in cash. On the same day, Li Yuan went to Chinsen Real Estate Agency and signed a house sale agreement with the two landlords. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 18. The two houses, plus the transfer fees and other expenses, cost him exactly 550,000 yuan. Seeing that the dust had settled, Wang Yu finally breathed a sigh of relief. With this order completed, it would be able to make a lot of money. Regarding Li Yuan's wealth, Wang Yu already regarded him as a rich second generation. His tone became more and more respectful. Mr. Li, it will take a week to get the real estate certificate. I will inform you then. Well, no problem, that's it. Li Yuan went back directly with a lot of transfer information. Not long after arriving at the rental house, the phone rang. It was Wang Shui calling. Xiao Shui, what's wrong? Li Yuan asked. Wang Shui was still in shock at this time and asked anxiously, Brother Yuan, you are really amazing. You scored 603, how dare you apply for Daxia University? The most important thing is that you were admitted to Daxia University, and the notification letter was sent. Now, our class group has exploded. No, the whole school has spread. You are so humming awesome, brother Yuan. No, my foster father is above me, I will only follow your lead from now on. Wang Shui's string of words made Li Yuan smile. He checked the admission results a few days ago, and there was no surprise. He missed out on a 985 university in Shanghai. He was not transferred and was admitted to the computer major of Daxia University. Li Yuan turned on his mobile phone. In the class group, he saw a picture of Daxia University admission notice taken by his class teacher, Lao Wang, which detonated the class group and shocked the entire class 22 students. Every year, there are students who make an upset, causing the envy of countless classmates. However, they did not expect that this year, the person who made an upset happened to them, and it was Li Yuan. Damn it, am I right? Li Yuan was admitted to the computer science department of Daxia University. Li Yuan is so incredibly lucky. With a score of 603, he was able to attend the 985 university in Shanghai. It's really enviable. However, I'm curious as to how Li Yuan dared to apply for Daxia University. His score is even an ordinary 211, so why did he take such a big risk? Look again, who else in our class has been admitted to Daxia University? Who else can it be? Let's see. Hey, Baiwixi also applied for Daxia University. Damn it, I understand, Li Yuan, really, I cried to death. Chapter 20 Green Tea cried, he did this all for me. After seeing this news, in an instant, all the high school classmates in the class understood the whole story. The reason why Li Yuan took the high score of 603 and took the huge risk of repeating the exam was to apply for the 985 university, which is generally impossible to get into. There can only be one reason. That is, because of love. At this moment, all the students in the class, both male and female, gave Li Yuan a thumbs up. Some despised him, some envied him, and some were moved. Li Yuan, he is so infatuated. If there is a boy who treats me like this, I will definitely agree to him. When Dong Yukio saw the news, he knew that he had no hope at all, and his words were full of sourness. She also felt disgusted with Baiwixi. Why is Li Yuan so infatuated with you? Just because you are pretty, his desk mate, first in the class, and gentle and gentle? Humph. Boys are all stupid and only care about appearance. Li Yuan is also a fool. Baiwixi even rejected you and is still entangled with you. This sentence is what she thinks. Oh, I really envy Baiwixi. Wang Yuchen was also in the group. After she saw the university Li Yuan applied for, she immediately called Baiwixi. It took several calls before the call got through. Yuchen, what's wrong? I'm practicing the piano. Xiao Bai, there is some shocking news, do you want to know? Oh, what's the big news? Did the lottery ticket you bought win the jackpot? Baiwixi was in a good mood these days. After seeing through Li Yuan's disguise, she was confident that Li Yuan was deliberately playing hard to get, pretending to be indifferent and keeping a distance. As long as he gives him a little sweetness, Li Yuan will definitely come back to him in a hurry. Wang Yuchen's tone was also teasing. Xiao Bai, do you know who is the most infatuated person in our class? Li Yuan's figure flashed in Baiwixi's mind, but he said he didn't know. Although Li Yuan was very kind to her and very infatuated with him, he was probably not the most infatuated person in the class. There is a couple in the class who have been dating each other since junior high school and have always been classmates. There was a boy who wanted to go to the same university for a girl, and in order to fulfill his previous promise, he faced a huge score difference and took the risk of slipping and repeating another year to apply for the university that the girl applied for. Do you think he is the most infatuated? Wang Yuchen's tone was full of envy. After knowing what Li Yuan had done, her attitude towards Li Yuan changed 180 degrees. How important is the college entrance examination? It can be said to be the most important choice in life. and Li Yuan, in order to pursue Baiwuxi, actually treated the college entrance examination application form as a joke. To put it nicely, it's called infatuation, but to put it worse, isn't this just a fool? That's a 40-point difference between ordinary 211 universities and 985 universities. If it fails, it will be wasted for a year. This requires great courage. Baiwuxi was shocked after hearing this, but she didn't think it was Li Yuan at first. Because this is simply impossible. Li Yuan only scored 603 points, 41 points higher than the first tier line. It is impossible for him to apply for a 985 university. Yuchen, who are you talking about? He is a little stupid. Even if we are not in the same university, it is fine if we are in the same city. Xiaobai, if I say that the idiot is Li Yuan, do you believe it? Baiwuxi was shocked when she heard her bestie's answer, and she murmured to herself, is it really Li Yuan? This is impossible, he is not that stupid. Yuchen, are you kidding me? I don't believe it either, but it is really him. Wang Yuchen's tone was full of sighs. This man is really hard-mouthed. He said vicious words, such as never wanting to have any contact with Baiwuxi again, etc., but his actual actions are completely different. This made her perception of Li Yuan reverse 180 degrees. Li scumbag, no, it should be, Li crazy man. After confirming that it was Li Yuan, Baiwuxi felt happy and a little panicked. She applied for a 985 university in Shanghai. With Li Yuan's grades, it was impossible for him to be admitted to a 985 university. Yuchen, are you saying that Li Yuan really applied for Daxia University? How could he be so stupid? He will be rejected and will have to repeat another year. As long as they are both in Shanghai, it will be fine. Wang Yuchen said enviously, but Li Yuan was also admitted to Daxia University. You can be in the same school again. Really? Baiwuxi was excited. Of course it's true. Li Yuan is lucky. A fool has a fool's luck. His admission letter has been posted in the class group by the old class teacher. There is a heated discussion in it. You can see it by looking at the group message. Well, let me see. Baiwuxi quickly hung up the phone and opened the class group with expectation and trepidation. When she saw the admission letter sent by the head teacher Lao Wang, she completely believed it and her heart was filled with sweetness. On her snow-white face, she was smiling as she muttered to herself. He did this all for me. He's really a fool. Fortunately, the result is good. On the other side, Li Yuan in the internet cafe received one call after another from classmates who congratulated and teased him. After hanging up the phone, Li Yuan was speechless. No one would believe him even if he explained the truth. Now, all my classmates will think that I applied to Daxia University just to pursue Baiwuxi. You can't wash it off even if you jump into the Yellow River. But I really didn't do it for her. It was the only 985 university in Shanghai that I was sure I could get into. Who cares? I don't want to be stupid. I won't go to the same university as Baiwuxi if I have the chance to get into a 985 university. I'll go to an ordinary 211 university. Li Yuan shifted his attention away from the class group, where the discussion was still heated. He has become the most affectionate person in number 1 middle school because of his name spread all over the campus because of his chance to get into a 985 university. Keep writing. I will get paid for my manuscripts in a week. The average price has risen to more than 50,000 in the first month after the publication. I don't know how much I will get. I hope it will be a big surprise for me. In the staff quarters of number 1 middle school, Luo Jingui has been feeling very upset recently. He failed the college entrance examination. In order to pursue Baiwuxi, after finding out the university Baiwuxi applied for, he hid it from his family and directly applied for 985 Daxia University with a score of 580. As expected, he failed and could only enter the repeat class and fight day and night for another year. At lunch, he opened the QQ group on his mobile phone. A message made him tremble with anger in an instant. There's a lucky guy in class 22 next door who was admitted to Daxia University with a score of 603. He's so damn lucky. There's even more exciting news. I heard that the guy who was admitted is called Li Yuan. He went all out to apply for Daxia University just to pursue the school beauty by Wuxi. I'm so envious. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. If the confession fails, chase her bestie. Author, Ren Shenkui Ken Ru Xiahua. Chapter 19. Maid, I know that Li Yuan is Bai Wuxi's deskmate and Bai Wuxi's dog. After the college entrance examination, Li Yuan confessed his love to the school beauty and was rejected. Unexpectedly, he didn't give up and actually had the courage to apply for Daxia University. There is a saying, licking the dog, licking until the end, everything you need. Li Yuan and the school beauty Bai are admitted to the same university, and coupled with the relationship between high school classmates, there is a high probability that they will eventually get married in a different place. Indeed, I'm so envious of this guy Li Yuan. Not only is he infatuated, but he's also damn lucky. No one else can have such a good thing like pie in the sky. Li Yuan's family situation is quite good. I heard that his family is in business, and the shoes he gave to his friends were all from Nike, worth 7,000 to 8,000. It's so irritating to see people compare to each other. Why is Li Yuan so lucky? All good things happen to him. Who wants to be the second generation of rich people? This is their destiny. Chapter 21. The licking dog is crying and the scumbag is growing up. Luo Jinggui's mentality really exploded. He never expected that the lucky guy who picked up the leak would be his love rival Li Yuan. It turned out to be Li Yuan, a great-grandson. If he hadn't also applied for Daxia University, I might have been the lucky one who missed out on 985. Damn it, I really want to beat him to death. His grandma's legs piss me off to death. My score of 580 is not much worse than his. If it weren't for my poor performance in mathematics this time, it would not be difficult to get a score of 600 plus. My 985 University, Li Yuan, you are really my nemesis, I'm not done with you anymore. Luo Jinggui roared hysterically, because his chosen choice was Daxia University in 985. Li Yuan was admitted to Daxia University, but he could only come back for one more year if he slipped. He obviously had a chance to miss out on 985. If he could describe his feelings at this moment in one sentence, it would be like being force-fed a bowl of cake. After being angry, Luo Jinggui was helpless. Originally, the relationship between the goddess Bai Wuxi and Li Yuan was unclear and very ambiguous. Now that they go to the same university, his chances are even smaller. No, I have to restudy well. I didn't do well in this year's exam. I'm not at my level in the first place. I have to be admitted to Daxia University next year. Li Yuan, I won't let you succeed. Bai Wuxi will definitely be mine. That night, Luo Jinggui's sheets got wet again and again. In the internet cafe, Li Yuan received a QQ message from Bai Wuxi. This was the first time Bai Wuxi sent him a message after the class meeting. Li Yuan, thank you for doing that for me. I am really touched. Also, I look forward to the moment when I meet you at the same university, Shy JPG. After seeing the content of the message, Li Yuan understood that Bai Wuxi had indeed misunderstood him. Reply directly, don't be so sentimental, I'm not doing it for you. Soon, Bai Wuxi had a new reply, brother, you finally replied to my message, happy JPG. Brother, when the time comes, how about we take a bus to Shanghai to go to college together? He, if you don't say anything, I'll take it as your promise. Brother, I knew you were the best to me. Li Yuan was speechless and didn't know what to say. This woman just liked to be sentimental. The nicer you are to her, the more she will put on airs. If you treat her aloof and don't take her seriously at all, she will become a bit licky and will take the initiative to find you. How do you say it in one sentence? Those who are favored are always confident. As the founder of the Scumbag said, you cannot give a good look to women. Women are to be attracted, not to be licked. Does this count as a mistake? When I get to college, maybe I can manipulate her. Who doesn't know how to play hard to get, and be hot and cold? After making his first pot of gold through sports betting and stocks, with assets of nearly 31 million, he has become a truly wealthy generation. In this life, even if he puts his money in the bank to earn interest, he has no worries about food and drink. Money is a man's courage. Once he has money, Li Yuan doesn't care so much about so-called beauties. Although Bai Wuxi is very beautiful, one of the top school beauties, there are not too many beautiful girls in Shanghai. Gathering some of the most beautiful young women in the country. As long as you have money and a house, you don't need to be pretty, those beautiful girls will pounce on you like moths to a flame regardless of anything. But now, he has all three. After not licking Bai Wuxi and deducting the filter of Bai Yueguang in his heart, Li Yuan suddenly felt that this was the best. You can do whatever you want and say what you want. You don't need to be as cautious as before. You are thinking about making her happy every day. If you want to talk to her, just reply to her. If you don't want to talk to her, just turn on the do not disturb mode and treat her as if she doesn't exist. This is so cool, I love so and so. It's not like labor and management are just trying to lick the dog. After finally being rewarded by God and having a good life, he decided in his heart that he would be more wanton and reckless in the future. Love needs to be talked about, but if you want to be devoted to a certain person, it is impossible. A man will only be truly moved once in his life. Once he misses it, he can never go back to the past. He will own a large forest. Too lazy to reply to Bai Wuxi's message, Li Yuan took a rest and looked at the stock market again. It is now the end of July 2008, the Imperial Capital Olympics is about to begin, and the domestic stock market, which has been weak, is beginning to gradually recover. Regarding stocks, he only knew that the stock prices of Techsun and Mutai at this time were both very low. Due to the economic crisis, they were at historical lows, and it was officially a good time to buy at lows. After the Imperial Capital Olympics is over, the stock market will usher in a rebound, especially Mutai's stock. Although there are ups and downs in the middle, it will continue to skyrocket in the future. Li Yuan took a look and found that the current stock price of Mutai was just 44.8 yuan per share. If he remembered correctly, Mutai's stock price had risen to a high of more than 2,000 yuan before his rebirth, with a market value of more than 2 trillion. If he invests 10 million in the stock market, even if he does nothing, after more than 10 years, it will become more than 500 million. Li Yuan did the math and found that he had more than 31 million in cash. Excluding the 550,000 he spent to buy 2 houses, he still had exactly 31 million left. After thinking about it carefully, he planned to buy a house and a car before starting a business after going to school in Shanghai. But now that there is still more than a month before school starts, investing money in the stock market, regardless of how much you can earn, is definitely better than depositing it in a bank. Maotai's market is much larger than that of Salt Lake. Li Yuan did not invest all his funds in it. He just invested 10 million to test the water and see the effect. If it falls, go for the long term. If it makes money, take it out to buy a house. In recent years, investing in a house has been the fastest growing opportunity. If you don't buy a house this year, you'll be in tears next year. the entire payment becomes a down payment, and the down payment becomes a garage. At this stage, what he said is actually correct. In his previous life, before graduating from college, he experienced the rise in house prices in Shanghai from 10,000 per square meter to 40,000 to 50,000 per square meter. After graduation, I wanted to settle down in Shanghai, but looking at the high housing prices, I couldn't even afford a toilet, let alone the down payment. Nowadays, there are no purchase restrictions in Shanghai. Buying a house is very simple. He plans to build a large number of houses and use the houses to support the houses. It is not much easier than starting a company. Of course, starting a business still requires starting a business. He had no chance in his previous life, but in this life, he would always give it a try. He wanted to see if it was true as Rebus said, as long as he stood on the wind, even a pig could take off. Li Yuan, who was in a happy mood, devoted himself to online creation again and continued his great work of coding. Although he doesn't care about the income from writing online articles now, the online writing industry is also a good career and can accumulate a lot of fans for him. Time flies, and August 3rd is coming soon. After a month of intense updates, today you can know his first month's royalties. In the 31 days of July, Li Yuan updated about 20,000 words every day, and the average number has reached about 60,000. For a month in a row, it has almost stabilized at the top of the monthly ticket list and best-selling list. At 10 o'clock in the morning, Li Yuan immediately logged into the backend of the writers area to check last month's royalties. As expected, it has exceeded 100 yuan. This month's royalties income has reached 1.6 million, which is much more than I imagined. It's not bad. It's worthy of my hard work. I have a house a month. I couldn't even imagine it in my previous life. Li Yuan was very satisfied. It was only 2008, and with this income, he was already at the top of the industry. It is difficult for executives of listed companies to earn this amount in monthly salary. In mid-August, the Imperial Capital Olympics was over and the university was getting closer. Xiaqin called, "Xiao Yuan, your dad and I will go back to your hometown tomorrow and hold a banquet for you to enter college." Li Yuan asked with some anxiety, Mom, can we not hold a college entrance banquet?" He was actually quite disgusted with the custom of enrollment banquet in his hometown. In rural hometowns, it is a big deal for a family's children to be admitted to college. Relatives and friends are usually notified, a festive day is set, and a good meal is played with gongs and drums. As soon as the entrance banquet is held, there will be many relatives asking questions, praising you, saying how awesome you will be in the future, etc. However, Li Yuan understands that it will be glorious when he does it now, but how embarrassing it will be when he is in trouble in the future. Chapter 22 Brother, don't go astray, your parents will kill you. Sure enough, as soon as Li Yuan opened his mouth, Xiaqin's reprimand came from the other end of the phone. "Xiao Yuan, you finally got admitted to a prestigious university, how could you not hold a banquet for your entrance into higher education? Relatives and friends are not allowed to poke the backbone of our family." Li Heng also spoke at the side, "The gangster from your third uncle's family next door only went to a second-level university last year, and he did it with great success. Our family also paid 400 yuan as a share of the family, but you don't want to do it. How can I take back the gifts I've given out over the years at the college entrance banquet?" Xiaqin snorted, "Xiao Yuan, let's wait until Dad and I go back. Although our family is poor, we are not so poor that we can't even afford our son's college entrance banquet. If the confession fails, chase her bestie." Author, Ren Shenkui Kan Ru Xiahua. Chapter 20. You don't need to ask about this matter. Take your driver's license test at home. Your father and I will take the train back tomorrow morning. After hanging up the phone, Li Yuan was speechless, but he couldn't beat his parents. He would confront them when they came back. The Northeast is too cold. Although his parents can earn some money there, it is too hard. He was powerless in his previous life. And in this life, he has become a multi-millionaire. If he continues to let his parents suffer, wouldn't he be a beast? Li Yuan has decided in his heart that when his parents come back, he will explain the situation to them. Showing his income is more persuasive than any words. If he had made money from sports lottery and stocks before, he would be embarrassed to take it out, but he can take out the money he made from writing novels with his own ability. On August 12, Yuandian Chinese network has transferred all the first month's royalties of Battle Starry Sky to his newly applied ICBC card. He didn't trust banks very much, so he naturally wouldn't put all his money in one basket. He planned to save some in the four major banks. He didn't plan to keep too much cash either, because it was useless. It would be better to exchange it for fixed assets to appreciate steadily. After the entrance banquet and getting the driver's license, I can consider going to Shanghai in advance. Anyway, there's nothing to do in my hometown. By the way, I'm going back to my hometown tomorrow, so I can't go to the internet cafe to type every day. I need to buy a laptop first. No matter what, the great cause of typing can't be delayed. Li Yuan searched the internet and found that the current laptops are very mature. Although they are not as good as those in the future, they are enough to meet his requirements for typing. After looking around, Li Yuan finally chose the Apple MacBook Air notebook. This notebook uses a 13.3-inch LED backlit display with a resolution of 1280 x 800. In terms of configuration, Apple MacBook Air uses Core 2 Duo P7500 processor. It has 2 GB memory, 80 GB hard disk, 802.11n wireless LAN module, Bluetooth module, pre-installed Mac OS X v10.5 Leopard system. The official website price is 12,880 yuan. Not to mention other things, just for typing, the performance is enough. That day, Li Yuan went to the computer store in the county and bought a spot computer, and then equipped it with a wireless network card, and it was okay. Spending 100 yuan, calling a small truck, Li Yuan prepared to take all the items in the rental house home. Mainly books, clothes, shoes, etc., although the value is not high, but they can't be thrown away directly. Looking at this rental house where he lived for 3 years in high school, Li Yuan suddenly felt reluctant. This represents his memories of 3 years in high school. Although the result is not good, it is happy after all. In this era, licking dogs is not despised. People like him are called warm men. This time when he went home, Li Yuan did not tell anyone that he had passed the third subject of the driving test and would get the driver's license next week. He also got the property certificates for the 2 self-built houses he bought. He felt relaxed and free of worries. Li Yuan took a small passenger car back to his hometown. When his sister Li Zixia saw him, she hurried to greet him. "Brother, you are finally back. Humph, you are so cool in the city and don't care about me at all." Although Li Zixia is only 15 years old, her height has reached 1.65 meters. She has become a graceful girl. Her face is inherited from her parents. She looks like she was carved out of the same mold as him. Her fair face is still a little immature. "Hey, Zixia, come here quickly and help me move all the things down. I bought you good things." Li Yuan pinched her cheeks and instructed her to start working. In the previous life, the two had completely opposite personalities. He was the kind of person with a strong self-esteem and cared a lot about face. The younger sister is very frugal, and her clothes are very simple. In addition, his parents have a bit of a patriarchal mentality, so they don't care about his sister as much as they do about him. Li Zixia saw a pair of pink shoe boxes and asked in surprise, "Brother, this is a pair of girls' sports shoes. Did you buy them for me?" Li Yuan laughed and said, "If it's not for you, who else could it be for?" I bought you several pairs. You can like them if you like them. If you don't like them, go to the city to change them. Brother, as long as it's bought by you, I like it. Li Zixia hugged Li Yuan's arm coquettishly, opened the shoe box with expectation, and there was a pair of brand new pink sports shoes in it. She asked in surprise. Brother, this pair of shoes is very beautiful, and there is a big check mark on it, which is the same as the basketball shoes you wear. Brother, what brand is this? Li Zixia has been studying in his hometown, and he doesn't know about brands such as Nike, Adidas, and Puma. In the eyes of students in a small county in 2008, a pair of Nike basketball shoes worth thousands of dollars was a great luxury. Ordinary family students still wore ordinary shoes that cost 20 or 31 yuan a pair. Shoes such as Li-Ning, Peak, and Step were all considered famous brands. In the previous life, even in 2023, with Li Yuan's meager salary, the clothes and shoes he wore would cost at most 700 or 800 yuan, and clothes worth thousands of dollars were rare. Zixia, this logo is called Nike, and this one with a string of letters is called Adidas. They are both world-famous sports brands. Try them when you have time to see if they fit your feet. After hearing Li Yuan's explanation, Li Zixia was startled and asked quickly, Brother, these shoes should not be cheap, right? A pair can cost 200 to 300. Just after finishing speaking, Li Zixia realized something was wrong because these shoes had tags on them. She glanced at the numbers above and was startled. Her tone was trembling, and she felt that the shoes in her hands were very hot. Brother, this pair of Nike shoes is priced at 699 yuan. It's not really that expensive, right? It's too scary. My monthly living expenses are only over 300 yuan. Li Yuan didn't want to hide his sister. Anyway, sooner or later, he had to let her know that he was the younger sister of a wealthy generation. It would be better to familiarize her with it in advance, so as not to be ridiculed and hurt by other students when he transferred to Shanghai to go to school in a while. Self-esteem. He patted his nervous little head and said with a proud smile. Zixia, these shoes are discounted, you can get 10% off, you don't have to worry, this is all money earned by your brother and I, just spend it with peace of mind. Li Zixia was so shocked that she could hardly turn around. She counted 6 pairs of various shoes, as well as some casual clothes of the same brand. Couldn't this add up to several $1,000s? She had no idea how her brother, a college student who had just graduated from high school, could earn so much money. Her little face became very serious as she reminded. Brother, where did you get so much money? This is a society governed by law. We must not go astray. Otherwise, if your parents find out, they will definitely rip you off. Chapter 23 Brother, from now on, you are my idol. Li Yuan directly gave her a big bang and tapped her smooth forehead. Your brother, I am a good citizen who abides by laws and regulations. I earn this money openly. Li Zixia beamed, Brother, tell me how you earn this money. I'm not a child anymore. Girls generally mature early, and children of poor people become rich early. Li Zixia has a relatively clear understanding of money. Being able to spend tens of thousands of dollars to buy brand name shoes, clothes, etc. is no longer an ordinary big deal. Li Yuan took out the newly bought laptop and asked with a smile, Zixia, do you know what this is? Brother, is this a laptop? A classmate in our class seems to have one at home. Yes, I just bought it today. Li Yuan smiled lightly. Li Zixia's eyes lit up, Brother, you even bought a laptop. It must cost several thousand. How did you get so much money? The laptop of the female classmate in our class seems to be made by Lian Xiang. It can watch videos and play games, it costs 7 or 8,000. It's not expensive, it's just over 10,000, it's just a small amount of money. More than 10,000 yuan, and you still have a small amount of money? Brother, you are really rich. Is our family a hidden millionaire, or did you win 5 million in the lottery? TCH, are you the kind of person who gets something for nothing? With my IQ, which was admitted to 985 university, making money is easy, all based on my own talent. Li Yuan smiled proudly. There is a golden room in the book, you know, right? I'll explain it to you later. It feels pretty good to show off in front of my own sister. No wonder the ancients often said that wealth does not return to its hometown, just like walking in brocade at night. This is just a sister who is not familiar with the world. If she drives home and buys a house in Shanghai, her status and face in front of young and old men will not be able to rise slowly. Just like Jingdong Lu, when he returns to his hometown, the pomp, scene, and power leave a special feeling in his heart. It would be a lie to say that I am not envious. Of course, he is far from that point now, so he naturally has to hide it appropriately. He still understands the principle of not revealing wealth. But that won't be the case in the future. Unless he is willing to lie down, he will definitely have a certain reputation and social status in the future. When the time comes, thousands of people will accompany them, cheering in front of them and supporting them in front of them, returning home in fine clothes. Wouldn't it be a joy in the world? Li Zixia hugged Li Yuan's arm and used the coquettish method. Brother, what are you doing and how do you make so much money? Tell me quickly. Here, let me show you. Li Yuan opened his laptop, connected the wireless network card, opened the Origin Chinese website, and pointed out Fighting Starry Sky to her, which was ranked first on the bestseller list. Zixia, have you read this book? Battle of the Starry Sky, Li Zixia exclaimed. Brother, I heard this book mentioned by a classmate in our class. It seems to be a fantasy novel. I heard it is quite popular. There are a few boys in our class and they often discuss it. What's the plot inside? Li Yuan said calmly, I wrote it. Li Zixia was completely stunned. This novel that was already famous on the internet was actually written by his own brother? For a moment, she was in a daze. It felt like a fantasy suddenly broke into reality. It was really incredible. Although she didn't understand online novels, she saw that Battle of the Stars was ranked #1 on the best-selling novel list, and she could understand that this novel would definitely make money. So, what my brother said is not false. Did he really make a lot of money by writing online novels on his own? Brother, how much money can you make in a month? Li Zixia asked curiously. Li Yuan stretched out a finger. Li Zixia's eyes lit up and he guessed nervously, brother, 10,000. Li Yuan shook his head, guess boldly, guess higher. Brother, it can't be 100,000, right? Li Zixia's voice was trembling. Her monthly living expenses were only more than 300 yuan. The 3-bedroom, 2-story building with a courtyard that her family just built last year only cost 80,000 to 90,000 yuan. What is the concept of 100,000 yuan?